And here we are with the Year 5 playoffs. Our first playoffs ever with these Nova Scotia Supernovas. We're up against the New York Rangers. They are 53, 20, and 9. We just barely made the playoffs. We had a tiebreaker against Tampa with 101 points. They didn't make the playoffs with 101 points. That's how crazy our division was this year. Unfortunately, we are going into the playoffs without Ingram or Chychrun to start out, so that's definitely going to hurt. So here we go. Game number 1 against the New York Rangers. In our first ever playoff game, we have a 7-2 Nova Scotia victory. Let's go. Shots are 56 to 36. That's crazy. 3 stars of the game, Jaeger, Stenberg, and Fascia. Our first playoff goal ever was scored 7 seconds in by Braden Jaeger from Lodnia and Graves. Then you have Khmelevsky from Fascia, and then a 4-goal second period. And then in the third, you have Lodnia from Kiviharju and Jaeger. What a performance in our first ever playoff game. Hopefully we can carry that momentum into game number 2. And Chychrun is healthy once again, so good thing that injury did not last too long. So he is back in the lineup alongside Juricek. And let's go into game number 2. Here we go. We have a 5-2 victory. Wow, we're crushing them so far. Shots are 42 to 33. 3 stars of the game, Peter, Nemestikov, and Khmelevsky. First period, we score 4. Saad from Liljegren and Nemestikov. Nemestikov from Peter and Fascia. Pajot from Peter and Khmelevsky. And then Khmelevsky from Peterka and Chychrun, coming back from injury. Panarin scores in the second and then the third. But then Lodnia scores with the empty net from Stenberg and Nemesnikov to put us up 2-0 in the series. All right, here we go. Game number 3. Can we make it a 3-0 series? Not quite. 5-4 loss against the New York Rangers in game number 3. Shots at 36 to 35. 3 stars of the game, Mahura, Khmelevsky, and Panarin. So no scoring in the first. Second period looks like this is when the majority of the scoring took place. Strom scores for New York, followed by Kakko, and then Carabella. Peterka gets the first goal of the game for us, followed by Lodnia, Saad, and Khmelevsky. And then the third period, Carabella and Fox with 2 late goals, both in the last minute of the period, get the Rangers the win. That's unfortunate. If we just held on for a minute longer, we would have had that game. That sucks. Whatever, we're still ahead 2-1, but it would have been nice to have that game for sure. That's one we could have won. Here we go, game number 4, and that'll be a 5-2 New York victory. Ooh. The away team has won every game so far. Well, if the pattern continues like that, then the series is in our favor, but I highly doubt that. Shots at 33 to 29, so we outshot them. They just outscored us. 3 stars of the game, Zibanejad, Panarin, and Kravtsov. First period, you have Lafreniere scoring. It's followed up by Khmelevsky for us. Second period, Jaeger scores to put us up 2-1, but then Zibanejad with 2 goals. Then the third period, Zibanejad with a hat trick about halfway through, and then Mahura with the empty net goal, and that will be a tie series. That's unfortunate. Game number 5. This is a huge game, and we have a 3-2 victory. There it is. So once again, the away team has won every game so far this series. Shots are 40 to 36 in favor of the Rangers, but the score, of course, was 3-2 in favor of your Supernovas. 3 stars of the game, Kiviharju, Kakko, and Ivanov with the 38 save performance and a 950 save percentage. First period, you have Zibanejad scoring. Second period, you have Lafreniere, so the Rangers go up 2-0 early. And then in the third period, you have Jaeger from Liljegren and Graves, and then Kiviharju from Khmelevsky and Peterka to get the game tied. So we go into overtime where Kiviharju scores his second of the game from Lodnia and Fabro, and that'll put us up 3-2 in the series. Let's not get comfortable, though. Let's make sure we win game number 6 on home ice. And here we go. First period underway, and a goal by Braden Jaeger within the first minute of play from Stenberg and Chychrun puts us up 1-0. And that is the end of 1. That was the only goal of the period, but that is fine by me. Second period time, we are now underway. We have a high sticking penalty to Pezzetta. I believe that is a Rangers player. That does not look familiar. And there it is. Brandon Saad with a goal from Khmelevsky and Liljegren to put us up 2-0. I believe that was on the power play that just occurred. Halfway through the second, nothing doing. And there's another one. Dominic Peter from Max Nemesnikov and Brandon Saad. We are up 3-0. Let's go. One more period. One more period. That's all we need. And we're off to the second round. There it is. John Peterka from Lekarimäki and Liljegren gives us the 4-0 lead over the first place Rangers. There's a goal for them. Terrence Smith from Panarin and Mahura, but they have a huge mountain to climb. I don't think it's going to happen. Major injury for Lafreniere. That's the nail in the coffin for them. And there it is. a 4-1 victory in game number 6. That'll have us moving on to round number 2 in our first ever playoff series. Shots at 32-30 in favor of your Supernovas. 3 stars of the game: Liljegren, Saad, and Chychrun. Yeah, we just beat the President's Trophy winning New York Rangers. If we could do that, I'm pretty sure we could beat any team. And now we have the Philadelphia Flyers, who were 40-31-11 in the regular season. The Metro was definitely much kinder to teams than the Atlantic Division was, as we see by the standings. So with a record like that, Philly was second in the Metropolitan. But we just wiped out the first Metro team, so I don't see why we can't do the same to the Philadelphia Flyers. So here we go. Game number 1. That'll be a 3-0 Nova Scotia victory. Shots are 41-20 in favor of your Supernovas. 3 stars of the game: Saad, Jiricek, and Moore. First period, you have Jaeger from Saad and Jiricek. Then you have Saad from Moore and Nemestikov. That'll put us up 2-0. And then in the second period, you have Lodnia from Khmelevsky and Saad. And that is all the scoring in the game. All right, game number 2. That'll be a 3-2 Philadelphia victory. Shots are 36-26. 3 stars of the game: Provorov, Nemestikov, and Tavares. First period, no scoring. Second period, you have Hayes and Provorov scoring for Philly. Third period, you have Lekarimaki scoring from Nemestikov and Delbel Beluz. I called him up because of the injury to Ingram, so he's had a little taste here in the playoffs. Then you have Tavares scoring for Philly, and then Lodnia from Khmelevsky and Graves. So we tried to make a comeback, but unfortunately it was not enough. Here we go. Game number 3 time. We're on home ice, and that'll be a 2-0 victory. Shots are 48-26. So in the 2 games that we have won so far this series, we've been dominant as far as the shots go anyway. 3 stars of the game: Ivanov, Hart, and Frost. Yeah, I would imagine Ivanov and Hart, this was definitely a goaltender's duel. First period, no scoring. Second period, Chychrun from Lekarimaki and Stenberg gets us on the board. And then third period, Stenberg from Peterka and Khmelevsky gets us the 2-0 victory. I gotta say, Khmelevsky was a great pickup from the Montreal Canadiens. 12 points so far in 9 games played. He leads our team. And he had 70 points during the regular season. I don't know. I forget who we traded him for. Who did we trade him for? Ellis and Lopinen in a third? That was definitely worth it. that was definitely worth it. Especially with how often Ellis always got injured. And I don't know how Lopinen or that 3rd round pick are going to turn out. But Khmelevsky's been just fine for us so far. So I will certainly take it. And here we go. Game number 4 against the Philadelphia Flyers. But actually first I have to select some Hall of Fame nominees. All right. Now it is time for game number 4 against the Philadelphia Flyers. And we have a 4-1 Philly victory. Shots are 28-26 in favor of Philly. 3 stars of the game: Wisdom, Frost, and Miller. So first period, Forster scores for Philly. And then in the second period, you have Frost and Wisdom. So they take a 3-0 lead heading into the third. Then you have Stenberg scoring from Peterka and Chychrun. And then K-Andre Miller getting the final goal of the game. Here we are, game number 5. We are tied at 2. And we have a 6-5 victory. This was a shootout of a game. Shots are 37-32 in favor of Philly. 3 stars of the game: Nemestikov, Konechny, and Saad. First period, you have Konechny scoring for Philly. Second period, you have Saad from Liljegren and Khmelevsky. Then you have Khmelevsky from Kiviharju and Stenberg. Then you have Tavares and Krug scoring. And then you have Saad from Nemestikov and Kiviharju. And then the third period, Khmelevsky from Peterka and Graves. Lekarimaki from Kiviharju and Nemestikov, and then Wisdom and Konechny score. So that actually sends it to overtime, and Nemestikov from Delbel Beluz and Saad for the game-winning overtime goal. And we are up 3-2 in the series. And good news, Adam Ingram is back. So I believe this will be his first playoff game here in game number 6 against Philly. We're going to go into it once again, because last time we went into it, we had some pretty good luck. So let's hope for the best. First period underway. And there's a goal by David Jiricek from Khmelevsky and Peter. Khmelevsky's been awesome. He's been fantastic in this series and in these playoffs in general. That'll be it for the first period. 1-0, that is fine by me. And there is a power play goal for Khmelevsky from Liljegren and Lekarimaki. Who else? At this point, I should just expect Khmelevsky to get every point because he's been hot. And there's another one, Peter from Peterka and Khmelevsky with his 10th assist of the playoffs. Wow. He's been on fire. Resuming simulation. And that is it for 2. Heading into the third period now. And we have an advantage. And there's another one, Brandon Saad from Khmelevsky and Liljegren. what is that like 4 points on the game for Komlevsky already? Yeah, that's 4 points for Komlevsky, and it's a point on every single goal so far. Sheesh. And you know what? The game's not even over. He may have another one in him. He may have another one, and we do have another goal. Stenberg from Fabro and Peterka. That is the first goal that Komlevsky has not played a part in, and even so, he was on the ice for it. So actually, I take that back. He may very well have played a role. He just didn't get a point there. And that is the game. A 5-0 victory, in no small part thanks to the Komlevsky line. That line was awesome. Shots were 37-32, 3 stars of the game. Ivanov with the shutout, Komlevsky with the 4-point performance, and Peterka. And that will send us off to the 3rd round in our first ever playoff run. Wow. I could not have foreseen Komlevsky being this good of an acquisition during this playoff run. 19 points in 12 games. Keep in mind, his career high for points before this season was 29 with Montreal. He goes from 29 to 70 in a year. Wow. He's been great. And we have the Toronto Maple Leafs as our 3rd round matchup. They are 50, 23, and 9 during the regular season. So it's safe to say there'll be a challenge. But we took care of the Rangers pretty handily. So I don't see why we can't do the same here for Toronto. Here we go. Game 1 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. We have a 3-0 win. We are just absolutely dominating right now. Shots are 41-39, so they put up a fight offensively, but Ivanov was up to the task. He had a 39-save shutout, earns him the 1st star of the game, along with Peterka and Komlevsky. So Komlevsky continues his hot streak, now with 21 points. First period, Stenberg from Komlevsky and Peterka. Second period, no scoring. Third period, Delbel Beluz with his first playoff goal from Lekarimaki and Yurichek, and then Komlevsky from Peterka and Yurichek. All right, time for game number 2. We have a 5-0 Toronto victory. So shutouts on both sides. One for us, one for them. Shots are 38-32, so we haven't shot them. But this time, Mandalese gets the shutout, the 38-save shutout. He is the 1st star of the game, and Matthews and Sprong as well. Uh-oh, Komlevsky. He has a day-to-day injury, hand soreness. I hope coach leaves him in there, honestly. I mean, I hope that injury doesn't aggravate itself and he gets injured further, but he's kind of been awesome. I don't really want to take him out. So we're on game day, and it appears Komlevsky is still in the lineup, so I'll go with whatever coach is doing here. Okay, so he is still in the lineup, but he's getting very much reduced minutes. He's on the 4th line with Lekarimaki and Delbel Beluz. That's fine. I'd rather have him out there for 4th line minutes than not there at all. So here we go. Game number 3. That'll be a 5-4 Nova Scotia victory. Shots are 40-24. 3 stars of the game, Peter, Riley, and Graves. First period, you have Peter from Liljegren and Graves. Then you have Peterka from Kiviharju and Fabro. Second period, you have Jaeger from Peter and Peterka. Then Stenberg from Graves and Ladnia. So we went up 4-0 at one point. And then Riley scores twice. And then Matthews twice in the 3rd period to get it tied. And then in overtime, Luka Delbel Beluz with the goal from Lekarimaki and Chikrin. That'll give us the 5-4 win. So looking good so far. Let's keep it going here in game number 4. That'll be a 5-4 Toronto victory this time. This series is going back and forth. Shots are 45-36 in favor of Toronto. 3 stars of the game, Bjorgvik Holm, and then Ladnia and Voigt. First period, we had the lead at one point. Ladnia from Peter and Jaeger, and then Peter from Ladnia and Graves. Second period, this is where Toronto did all their scoring. Voigt, Nylander, Guryanov, and then Jaeger from Ladnia and Peter. And then Ole, Julian, Bjorgvik Holm, that is quite the name. And then Mitch Marner with the goal as well, puts them up 5-3. Third period, Ladnia from Peter and Jaeger tries to get us back within reach, but unfortunately we did not have another goal for the rest of the period, and that will be a 5-4 Toronto victory. So with that, we were tied at 2 in this series. Ingram is injured once again, unfortunately. How long is he be out for? Oh no, 1%. Torn back muscle indefinitely. That is certainly unfortunate. How long is indefinite in this situation? 5 months. Ugh. So that takes him May 16th. That takes him to the beginning of next season. So he's missing training camp too. So it looks like he is going to be on the injured list for quite a while. Luckily, most of the time that he's going to be injured is going to be the off season, but still, he's a key part of our team. Do not like to see him go down for the rest of the playoffs there. Wait a minute. Do we not have another game? Was that it? Yeah, we're only tied at 2. Why is there no more? The schedule's empty. What if I just simulated a day here? Yeah, okay, that was it. Got a little confused there for a moment, but we do have another game against Toronto. So here we go. Game number 5. We are tied at 2, and that'll be a 4-1 Supernovas victory. Shots are 50 to 42. We pour on the shots when we win. 3 stars of the game, Kiviharju, Swayman, and Liljegren. So Swayman gets in there for a game. I'm pretty sure, besides this game, it's been mostly Ivanov. Yeah, it's been mostly Ivanov here in these playoffs. So nice seeing Swayman get some action, and he's been pretty good in those 80 minutes that he's been in there. 982 save percentage. First period, you have Amirov getting the goal for Toronto to get them on the board, and then Peterka, the goal for us from Kiviharju and Liljegren. Second period, Liljegren against his old team with the goal to get us up by 1 in the second period. Then you have Stenberg from Nemestikov and Peterka, Jaeger from Moore and Kiviharju, and that brings us to the third period where there's no scoring. Final score 4-1, and we are up 3-2 in the series. All right, Khmelevsky is back to full health, so he's now back on the second line. Good to see. Hopefully he can contribute a little bit more now. He was a little silent for those few games that he was injured, but that was expected. He was on the fourth line, so hopefully he can get back to what he was doing prior to the injury and get some more points here in this key game number 6. I do not want to go to 7. Come on, Nova Scotia. We have Swayman versus Mandalese. First period underway. And that's a goal for Toronto. Guryanov from Hervinen and Kara. And that is it for the first period. It's a 1-0 deficit. It's nothing we can't handle. Second period underway. And Nylander with the goal from Marner and Matthews makes it 2-0. Come on, boys. I would really prefer not to go to a game 7 here. Can we mount a comeback of some sort? There it is. Lania from Stedberg and Graves. And that is it for the second period. Third period underway. And Stenberg from Khmelevsky and Liljegren. So Khmelevsky getting back on the score sheet. And that makes it 2-2. Come on, Nova Scotia. Mitch Marner with the goal from Valimaki and Matthews. Makes it 3-2. But Liljegren from Jaeger and Kiviharju gets it tied once again at 3. Come on, Nova Scotia. Tripping for Jacob Chikrin. Don't like that. And headed to overtime. Who's it going to be? Who is it going to be? We have Juricek with the overtime winning goal. I believe he scored as his name is highlighted. And that is all she wrote for the Eastern Conference Finals. We are going to the Stanley Cup Finals in our first ever playoff run. That is... wow. Shots are 41 to 38 in favor of Toronto, but the score, of course, is in favor of us. 3 stars of the game, Jaeger, Marner, and Lodnia. So with that, let's see who we face in the Stanley Cup Finals. And it will be the Winnipeg Jets. So 2 Canadian teams facing off against each other for the Stanley Cup. Here we go, game number 1 against Winnipeg. And we have a 7-3 win. Wow. Shots are 38 to 29 in favor of Winnipeg. So we actually didn't even get all that many shots compared to Winnipeg, but we outscored them by a pretty wide margin. 3 stars of the game, Jaeger, Delbel, Beluz, and Lekarimaki. First period, you have Peter from Jaeger and Juricek. Then you have Lekarimaki from Delbel, Beluz, and Fabro. Then you have Saad from Moore and Nemestikov, makes it 3-0. And after only 2:09 of play. That's 3 goals in 2:09. Wow. Actually, less than, considering you have the first goal at 40 seconds. So that's what? 3 goals in a minute 30 or so? Then you have Kopp and Ehlers scoring for Winnipeg. As in the second period, you have Peterka from Stenberg and Fascia. And then you have Chikrin from Jaeger and Stenberg. Makes it 5-2. And then Jaeger from Peter and Chikrin makes it 6-2. Chibukov for the Jets gets them on the board once in the third, but Lekarimaki answers from Delbel, Beluz, and Pajot. And we are up 1-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals. That is a good way to start. So it is time for game number 2. We have a 4-1 Winnipeg victory. Yeah, couldn't have expected it to be that easy. Shots at 34 to 33 in favor of Winnipeg. 3 stars of the game, Lucius, Holm, and Morrissey. First period, Connor scores for Winnipeg. Second period, Moore gets our only goal of the game from Nemestikov and Saad. Then you have Gustafsson and Lucius scoring. And then Simon Nemec in the third period. Time for game number 3. We have a 3-1 Winnipeg win. Shots are 43 to 25, so we outplayed them, but they outscored. 3 stars of the game, Nemec, Chikrin, and Holm. First period, we scored first, Khmelevsky from Chikrin and Peter, but then it was all Winnipeg. Nemec with the goal. Then Tomasino in the second, and Lucius in the third. And to make matters worse, Lodnia and Liljegren both with major injuries. Doesn't look like either of them are going to be out for too long. Mild calf strain and hip flexor strain for Liljegren. Unfortunately, it seems Liljegren's going to be out for the rest of this series. So let's hope we can do something here in game number 4. Otherwise, it is not looking good, especially with those two out. Game number 4 is going to be a 6-2 Nova Scotia victory. Shots are 46-18. 3 starters of the game, Chmielewski, Kiviharju, and Peter. First period, you have Kiviharju from Peter and Pajot, followed up by Peter from Kiviharju and Chmielewski. Second period, you have Chmielewski from Jaeger. Then you have Lekerimäki from Namestnikov and Pajot. Then you have Gustafsson scoring for Winnipeg. And in the third period, you have Athanasiou for Winnipeg, followed up by Lekerimäki on the power play from Graves and Namestnikov. And then Saad from Chmielewski and Chychrun. And unfortunately, Dominic Peter now has a major injury as well, and it seems it's long-term, third-degree MCL sprain, 1 to 2 months. As a result of that injury, we do have to call someone up, so it may as well be Zetterberg. He's used to the pace of the NHL, or at least he has had experience in the NHL. Just last year, he had 64 games played with us. Unfortunately, he hasn't really played at all this year due to a 10-month injury, and then getting some rehab in the AHL, but he should be good to go at this point. So I can only hope that he'll be able to keep up with the pace as best he can. This is the Stanley Cup Finals after all, and this is his first playoff game and his first game in the NHL in over a year. So here we go. Game 5 against Winnipeg. I believe we are currently tied at 2 in the series, and that'll be a 3-1 Nova Scotia victory. Shots at 34-24. 3 stars of the game, Lekerimäki, Smith, and Jaeger. And the first period, you have Delbel Beluz scoring from Lekerimäki. Second period, you have Zetterberg from Namestnikov, and then Smith for Winnipeg, and then Jaeger with the unassisted goal to put us up 3-1. And of course, that was the last goal of the game, as there was no scoring in the third. So with that, we are up 3-2 in the series. Here we go. Game number 6 against Winnipeg. Nothing else needs to be said. First period underway. Dante Fabro with the goal right away from Peterka, and Stenberg puts us up 1-0. And then not long after, Kyle Connor from Heinola and Scheifele gets the game tied. And then, once again, Dante Fabro from Lekerimäki and Pearson gets us up by 1 once again. And there's another one, Peterka from Jaeger and Stenberg. This is all in the first period, by the way. And there's another one, Lucius with the unassisted goal for Winnipeg. And another unassisted goal, Max Namestnikov puts us up 4-2. And that is it for 1 second period underway. And there's a goal, Lekerimäki from Facia and Kiviharju. There it is, Brandon Saad from Namestnikov and Pearson. We're up by 4. Oh, okay. Connor, he answers back. And wow, this is one heck of a game. Trevor Moore scores from Lodnia and Graves to make it 7-3. And we are in the second period. Very crazy game overall, but I'm liking our chances. Third period now. And that is all she wrote. We win the Stanley Cup. Wow. Shots of 33-28. 3 stars of the game, Fabro, Graves, and Stenberg. Yeah, that was a crazy 2 periods there. Honestly, I thought we were going to see a 10-goal game there with how things were going. There it is. Your Nova Scotia Supernovas have won the Stanley Cup in our first ever playoff run. That is so crazy. It took us 6 games to get past round number 1, 6 games to get past round number 2, 6 games to get past round number 3, and of course, 6 games to get past the Stanley Cup Finals. So, wow, what a crazy year for your Nova Scotia Supernovas. So, we literally go from being one of the worst teams in the league 4 years straight to barely making the playoffs with an 101-point season in this division to a Stanley Cup victory. I suppose that is the crazy game of hockey. I mean, you know what? I was pretty sure I wasn't going to re-sign most of these veterans, but now with what has transpired here, I might have to think twice about that. So now let's take a look at the stats. Chmielewski with 26 points in 24 games played. I would say he's the favorite for the Conn Smythe. I mean, Ivanov and Swayman played well. So I don't know what happened with Ivanov. I don't think he got injured because it was mostly him playing the games up until like halfway through the third round. I don't know what happened there, but I guess coach just decided to go with the veteran Swayman and it paid off. Then you have Jaeger with 21 points, 20 points for Stenberg, 19 for Peterka, 18 for Namestnikov, 17 for Saad, 16 for Kiviharju, 14 for Lodnia and Lekerimäki, 11 for Graves, 9 for Chychrun, 8 for Fabro and Delbel Beluz, Moore with 7, 6 for Juracek, Pajot with 4, Facia with 4, Pearson with 2, Zetterberg with 1 in 2 games, Vlasic played a game, and then we already saw the goalie stats. I'm not sure what to say. I was not expecting this team to go from bottom of the league to Stanley Cup champions in a matter of 1 season. Yeah, there you go. Your Stanley Cup champions for year number 5 are your Nova Scotia Supernovas.